Bacula Enterprise Edition to the rescue.
We are going to demonstrate the process of authorization of the Microsoft 365 plugin within the cloud environment. This process is needed in order for the Bacula Microsoft 365 plugin to be able to back up from or restore to the cloud environment. This process is simply carried out using the Microsoft 365 wizard, which is a part of BWeb graphical user interface. The wizard is accessed from the left-hand navigation bar by clicking on the Microsoft 365 button and then by selecting tenants. After the wizard loads, the first thing you need to do is select the client on which the Microsoft 365 plugin is installed, and then click on a new tenant button and insert the tenant ID for which you want to authorize the plugin, and click on continue. This is a two-step process. In step 1, something called a registration app is going to be authorized to run inside of a tenant. In order to do this, you need to click on this link, which opens a new tab, and then authenticate using the administrative account on the Microsoft 365 tenant. Once you have successfully logged in with the administrative account, the authorization is going to pass through and you are going to see this page. Once this page is shown, you can get back to the original page and click on continue to the step 2, which will then install a special standalone Microsoft 365 plugin app inside of your tenant. It will also create a specific configuration file and place it on your file daemon client host. In order for this step to be successfully finished, you will also need to authenticate using the administrator account on the Microsoft 365 Cloud. Just click on the link here. It will open a new window if you click it with the middle click, and then use this code and again log in with administrative privileges. You will be granted by a dialog that will inform you that this process is successful and that you may close this window, and also that the process was successfully done. You can also close the initial window. And this finishes the authorization of the Microsoft 365 plugin inside of the cloud. In addition to this step, if you are aiming to back up a certain content from calendar service and chat service belonging to a certain user, you will need to perform an additional step. This is a delegated permission authentication. You can access this by clicking on the users part of the Microsoft 365 wizard. And here you are going to select a user which is going to grant delegated permissions to the plugin in order for the plugin to be enabled to back up certain items from calendar and chat. This is not a mandatory step because this can also be carried out during the execution of a backup job, but having this carried out now will cut down on the number of interactions with the end user during the running of a backup job. All you need to do is click on a user login, pick on an appropriate tenant, and then just insert the username in the full format together with the domain and click on login. The dialog will inform you after a while about a link which then needs to be sent to the user. This is the link and the code. And the user needs to access this link, insert the code, and then log in with its credentials. Once the Microsoft informs you that you may close this window, the delegated permission authentication process is done, and you will see the username of logged in users in this list. You can see now that this user is logged in. There is also an optional third authentication step that you will need to take in order to be able to back up certain group-related items from Teams and chat, but this process is strictly carried out on the Microsoft portal. you will need to carry it out in order to be granted an access to the protected API in Microsoft Graph. And this process is detailed in the plugin documentation, detailedly described in the plugin documentation. After you have successfully done all of the authorization steps listed here, your Microsoft 365 plugin is fully authorized to perform backup and restore tasks.